Hello everyone, this is James Shore with another test-driven JavaScript video. I'm recording this on August 28th, 2012, picking up right where we left off in the last video. And what we had just done is we're writing a smoke test, and we've gotten to the point where we can actually run WeWikiPaint. We've got so WeWikiPaint has a little server, has a little thing to start the server, and we've got it to the point where we can run that, but it's not quite working. By the way, at the end of the last episode, it didn't really work. I had this in here. I needed to take that out. Now everything's working fine. So if you are following along and it doesn't work in this way, that's what's wrong. So yeah, we're running WeWikiPaint. We can see it saying that it's called, and we can see it failing that it can't find our homepage.html. That's all good. The problem is that we have to do this timeout. If we don't have the timeout here, we get into a race condition where we actually try to connect to the server before the server's up and running, and that's no good. So we need some way of knowing when the server is up and running. So and of course we could just do a timeout, but that's not a good idea. Relying on timeouts to deal with asynchronous code is fraught with danger. You end up either having to set a really large timeout, in which case your tests are slow and painful. The more tests you have, the slower they get, the worse your TDD cycle gets. Or your timeout isn't long enough because maybe you're hitting a disk at a particular time, or you've just got some sort of hiccup in the computer, and the test fails for the wrong reason. And then you have to debug, or you don't trust your tests anymore. So setting timeouts is not a good way of handling these things. What you need is the ubiquitous node callback. So we need Node to tell us when the server's up and running. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move this in here. And so what we need to do is have this thing call the callback when the server's ready. But the problem is we don't have any way of knowing that right now. And because we're running this effectively, we want this to run on the command line. We don't have any way of talking back to the smoke test. Now, we could write some code to talk back, but that's not really how we want it to work. The way it needs to talk back is, well, by actually outputting something. So I think the server is ready once we call server.start. So what would happen if we put that there? And then here, if the chunk is equal to server started, we call the callback. Now that's ugly, I know, but we will clean all this up in time. What happened there is it says the address was in use. It was actually, the process was still running. So we need to clean up after ourselves when we're done. So yeah, it looks like this child process.spawn doesn't shut itself down properly. Okay, that looks promising. By the way, I need to fix this so it's not adding a spurious line feed at the end. I don't remember how to do that. It's console.something. The equivalent to console.log is process.standardout.write. That won't put \n on it, the line feed on it. In order to make that work, I had to rename the variable here. So anyway, back to what we were doing. So we've got this running. When the server started, it looks like it's now hanging. I'm not sure why. Let's see if our callback is running. Here. So no, it's not. So I take it that means we're looking for probably a line feed there. Because we are getting server started, but it's not recognizing that. Either that, or maybe it's not coming all in one chunk. Yeah. So why is that not working? It's saying no match. What happens if we trim it? Oh, and now we've got a bogus node process hanging out there. Oh, okay, that chunk. Okay, so there's the problem. The chunk is not a string. So what it is it's a buffer. So we need to call set encoding on it, and that way it will return us a string. There we go. There's our match. So okay. Now we're getting undefined is not a function, line 29. Callback. There we go. And let's get this out of here. There. That'll probably fail. Yes, because every time we get an exception, the process dies without killing the tests die without killing the child process. This is why integration tests are such a pain. Okay, here we go. Server started, callback called. Server process saw it could hang up. So I think we are still not waiting quite long enough. So what we have happening here is we're running server.start and saying server.started right away. And this is running and it's still not ready. So what we need to do is actually have the server. Oh, wait. No, maybe I'm mistaken. Yeah, now we have another race condition where sometimes it looks like it's actually getting to the point of trying to load the file, and sometimes it's not. Yeah, see that time it didn't get to the point of trying to load the file. So I think now what we need to do is, rather than having this say server started here, we actually need the server to do a callback here, which means we need to come back to our server test and write that code. So let's go ahead and comment out this test for now so that we're running green. And we'll commit this. And what do we have here? We've got server runs but doesn't know when HTTP server is up. So that's something we need to get into here. We need to write some code that says that we don't actually, that the server tells us when it's ready. And really, we don't need to write a new test for that. We just need to modify this HTTP GET. We start the server, and then once we do, all this stuff has to happen inside of here. So if we run that, it just hangs because it never gets that callback. So now here, this needs to take a callback, and we need to call that callback when the server is actually ready. So let's go ahead back here. So yeah, I didn't look at this closely enough when I first wrote this code. Server.listen is asynchronous. So we need that callback to happen here. And there we go. That's working. Okay, so now let's get back to our smoke test. Re-enable all this. We've got this set up so that we run the server with a callback. That's not going to work just yet because we need this here to take that callback. And there we go. Now let's run this a couple of times, see if we have really resolved that race condition. It looks like actually I'm not sure that we have. Well, I think we're doing this right, so I'm going to just carry on, but that's all the time we have for this episode. So next time, we're going to get this set up so that these files actually exist, and then we'll be getting pretty close to moving on to getting this onto an actual server. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll catch you next time.